Good morning everyone. As you know, we have been doing chapter 7 from past 2 lectures, and of course the chapter is Dissolution of Partnership Firm, part 1, chapter 7. The past 2 lectures have been for theory, and again the third lecture for this chapter consists of theory 2. As I've already mentioned, the chapter is more into theory rather than science. So it is extremely important that you understand theory in detail and in perfect manner. So you should watch this video lecture completely till end for proper understanding. So let us see what is the topic for today. The topic for today is the legal and other provisions for accounting settlement of dissolution. The main topic is dissolution of partnership firm. These are the accounting aspects, of which the first, methods of dissolution of firm. We have completed this topic in the previous lecture. And today that we are going to do is legal and other provisions for accounting settlement of dissolution and procedure of dissolution. Alright, so this is given on page number 277 of your textbook, in your textbook. If you want to see in detail, I hope you have your textbook with you. Fine, let us begin. Legal and other provisions for accounting settlement of dissolution. Firstly, what is dissolution? It is the end of existence of partnership firm. Yes, so in short, the business is going to end. Yes. So you cannot just end it randomly. You need to follow some procedure for the same. Yes, step by step. Yes, we've understood the methods, and here now we are dealing with the legal provisions and other accounting settlements of dissolution. Let us see which is the first point of it. The first point here is for loss of a firm. Understand? In case the firm is making loss, yes, the firm which is going to be dissolved as a result of loss, the loss-making firm. So as per Indian Partnership Act, the loss arised, including capital deficit, at the time of dissolution is executed in the following manner. The points have been presented in your textbook also, and even I am going to dictate. So what they are trying to say, if the firm is making loss, yes, the objective is to make profit, but here the firm is making loss. Now, there is also capital deficit. That means the investment, capital is an investment. The investment made by partners has also been reduced. The capital deficit. There is no sufficient amount of capital even available for the distribution among partners. So what happens? during that time. So firstly, in such a case, it is to be written off from the profit of the firm. Now the question is, if the profit is not sufficient, that particular loss, for writing off that loss, then it will be met from the capital of the partners. That means that loss is to be written off from the capital of the partners. And also, if the capital is not sufficient, then all the partners will distribute that loss in their profit loss sharing ratio and pay from their personal assets as per need. What are personal assets? Your personal property, other than the property of your business. Assets means you know very well. Yes. So what they are trying to say is that whenever the firm is making loss, so firstly that loss is to be written off from the profit. If that profit is not sufficient, then the capital of the partners is to be utilized for writing off the loss. Even if the capital is not sufficient, then ultimately that loss is to be distributed among all the partners in their profit loss sharing ratio. And for this they have to use even their personal assets for writing off the loss. Personal property other than business, मतलब घर बार जो रहता है वो भी सब सेल करके आपको पेमेंट करना है, आई मीन लॉस रिकवर करना है, इज व्हाट आई मीन हियर. ऑलराइट, फाइन देन let us see which is the next point. It is liabilities of a firm and personal liabilities of a partner. Now there is a difference between the liability of a firm and personal liability of partner. Yes. The liabilities of partners is limited. Thus, what used towards third party, partners are responsible individually and collectively. Third party, who is the third party? The outsiders in the business, third parties. Yes. So, उनकी तरफ जो liability है, for that not individual, I mean the partners are responsible individually and collectively together. Now, as per the legal provisions, assets of the firm are used to discharge the liabilities of the firm, and personal assets of partners are used to discharge their personal liabilities. See, the liabilities of the firm are paid by utilizing the assets of the firm, and personal liabilities are to be paid by using personal assets of partners. All right. So let us see the next point here. Partners loan to the firm. Now, if the partner has given loan to the firm, then at the time of dissolution, firstly dissolution expense and the liabilities are paid. And I mean from the realization of assets, what you are going to do? You are going to sell all the assets, and firstly you will pay dissolution expense. Dissolution expense is paid for carrying out the entire procedure of dissolution. Then all the liabilities of the firm are paid, and then from the surplus the loan of partners is redeemed. All right. Now what an important point here is that if there is no sufficient amount available for the payment of loan of more than one partner, and nothing can be recovered from partners, then in such a case the loan of these partners is redeemed in that loan proportion. Now it's not necessary that only one partner has given loan to the firm. There are there are many partners, so it is possible that more than one or maybe 2, 3 the partners have given loan. Yeah. So Then loan of partner's wife, the most important topic even for the theory questions. Understand, loan of partner's wife, you will say, ma'am, that can be considered the loan of a partner itself, because she is the wife of a partner, so it's one and the same. But there are important points to understand with the same regard here. If wife of a partner has given loan to the firm from her personal fund, now you will question, what is the personal fund of the wife? It is her property. In simple words, if I want to explain, the gold that the woman, the lady, she has is her personal property given by her parents. Yeah? So if she has given loan from her personal fund, then this loan will be treated as a liability towards third party and will be redeemed accordingly. So that will be considered as a liability of the firm. And if the loan is given from the personal fund of her husband, then it will be treated as a loan of a partner itself, because the fund is of her husband. Yes? So ultimately the loan becomes it is treated as a loan of the partner itself. These are the important points. I'm reading on page number 278 of your textbook. You should please pay attention to this. Many theory questions, short questions are asked from this concept. The fourth point, page number 278. Okay. Let us understand the next point, which is the liability of partners. Now they say the liability of partners is unlimited. If a partner or partners become insolvent, solvent partners are responsible to pay the dues of the firm from their personal property. That means if the partner of a firm or partners, they become insolvent, that is financially incapable of discharging their duties, yes, then the solvent partners, the financially capable partners are responsible to pay the dues of the firm even from their personal property. मतलब जो personal property है उनका, not the property of business, but other than that, their personal property, their house, their car, or any sort of property that they have, even they have to utilize that and have to pay the amount of liability. Yes? Let us see which is the next point. Alright, the most important concept of all. There can also be a separate question for this. I repeat, this is the most important concept of theory, that is distribution of assets, realization of firm. Okay, understand a simple thing. Whenever the process of dissolution takes place, yes, the very first thing which takes place is the payment of dissolution expense. But even before that, you will sell all the assets of the firm. Why? Because once you are involved in the process of dissolution, you have to settle down all the things. The property that you have is to be sold. The property is assets. The assets of the firm are to be sold. Yes? Then the amount realized from the sale of those assets is to be utilized towards the payment of the expenses, liabilities, loan, etc., etc. Yes? So let us understand. See, the heading itself says distribution of assets, realization of firm. The realized value of assets. What are the assets? Machinery, land, building, furniture. These are all assets of the firm. They are to be sold, and the amount realized thereof is to be distributed in this order. Yeah? Let us see which is the first point. The very first thing that you are supposed to do is you will pay all the dissolution expense. You cannot do any other thing before this. Yes, the amount realized on sale of assets. Firstly, you need to pay the dissolution expense. Please remember, this can be asked as VSQ and CQ. Yeah, most important theory question. So firstly, dissolution expense is paid, then liabilities towards third parties are paid. Third parties, outsiders. Could be creditors, loan from people other than the partners. Yes? So here we had a point, loan of partner's wife. The first point that we understood, that if the wife has given loan from her personal fund, then it will be paid at this stage. It is to be treated as third party liability. So the loan of partner's wife given from her personal fund will be paid as a third party liability. Okay? Next step is the loan of partners is paid. Here, if the amount is not sufficient for the payment of the amount of loan, then what happens? The loan is to be repaid in proportion, the proportion of loan. Say for example, A and B, both of them have given loan to the firm. The firm is now about to close down. And if the firm is not having sufficient amount for the repayment of the amount of loan of both the partners, then the amount of loan will be paid in the proportion of loan. Say for example, A has given a loan of rupees 50,000 and B has given a loan of rupees 30,000. So the amount of loan will be paid in the proportion 5:3 from the available fund for the distribution of loan. Yeah? Then the next point, see, after payment of these three things, capital and balances of current accounts of partners are redeemed. Once you are done with these three things, then you come towards the next thing, that is the payment of capital and the balances of current accounts of partners. That means you will repay this amount. Once you are done with the payment of dissolution expense, then third party liabilities, and then the loan of partners. Next thing that you pay is the capital and balances of current accounts of partners. Okay? Now the main thing they say is that in case if any surplus remains after the payment shown in D, D is the payment of capital and balances of current accounts of partners. So still if the amount is available, if any extra amount is available, the surplus, that this is the extra now, will be distributed among all the partners in their old profit loss sharing ratio. What they are trying to say is that if there is any sort of surplus available after carrying out this entire procedure, then that surplus will be distributed among partners in their old profit loss sharing ratio. Yes? Let us quickly revise this point because this is the most important point of all. They say the distribution of assets, realization of firm. Firstly, understand this. The process of dissolution has taken place, and the process always has few steps to be followed. Just because you are closing down the firm, you need to sell all the assets of your business, of the firm. Why do you sell them? Because the firm is going to get closed. Yes? So you have sold the same. Now what you are going to do with that amount? You will take it home? Is that your personal property? No, it is the property of the firm. There are three partners, A, B and C. So you need to follow the procedure. So you have sold all the assets. Now the amount that you have realized on sale of such assets, you are going to use it in following manner, of which the first point is the dissolution expense is paid. Yeah? Dissolution expense is the expense paid for the process of dissolution. Next, liabilities towards third parties are paid. Just because you are closing down, you need to clear the payment. Yes, the amount payable to any outsiders, the liabilities that you have in your firm need to be paid, need to be cleared. Yeah? Just the way you are dealing with assets, you have sold all the assets. Why? Because now you are closing down. Similarly, you need to pay all the liabilities. Yes? सारा हिसाब किताब जो है वो सारा करके ख़त्म करके फिर आपको अपना बिजनेस जो है वो बंद करना है. It's just not like that today you thought of closing down and tomorrow you will close down everything. You won't visit the place of your work, or you won't operate your PC or anything like that. You cannot do that. Let people do whatever they want to, I am not going to work from tomorrow. No. Just the way there is a procedure to start, there is also a procedure to end. Yes? Need to follow the steps always. So all the liabilities towards third parties are paid, and here I have highlighted a point of the loan of partner's wife given from her personal wealth, personal fund. If she has given loan from her personal fund, it is to be paid at this step. It is to be treated as a third party liability. And if she has given loan from her husband's fund, then it is obviously the loan of a partner itself. It is treated as the loan of a partner. Then it won't arise at this point. Hope you understand the difference. Then loan of partners paid. There are three partners, and A and B, both of them have given loan. So it will be redeemed at this stage. If the amount is sufficient, it will be repaid completely. If the amount is insufficient, then it will be paid in the proportion of their loan. Then the capital invested by the partners and also the balances of current accounts of partners are redeemed. Redeemed is returned. Why it is returned? Everything is returned. Why? Because we are closing down. So the amount of investment made by the partners is to be returned to them. And if there is any balance in the current accounts, is also to be clear. Finally, after that, if there is any surplus after the payment shown in point D, मतलब D तक जो आपका procedure है वो खत्म होने के बाद, if there is any sort of surplus, then it will be distributed among all the partners in their old profit loss sharing ratio. Yes, if there is still amount after the distribution of capital and clearing the balances of current accounts, still there is some balance left in the firm from the realization of assets, then it is to be given to the partners in their old profit loss sharing ratio. In case if it is firm, then it is to be taken from the partners. In case if there is any surplus, then it is to be given to the partners again in their profit and loss sharing ratio. So let us see what is the next point. General procedure of dissolution. When a firm is dissolved, at that time all the assets of the firm are sold. All the assets of the firm are sold, I said this, and the payment is made in the mentioned order. This is the order. This is the mentioned order. Due to accounting treatments of dissolution, books of accounts of the firm will be closed, because the entire business is to be closed. So after carrying out this procedure, the books of accounts of the firm will be closed. Yeah? This is the process of dissolution. Yes? I repeat, when the firm is dissolved, at that time all assets of the firm are sold. I have mentioned this in the very beginning of the explanation of point number 6. You will sell all the assets and then payment is made in the mentioned order. I repeat, this is the order. And hence everything comes to an end. The books of accounts of the firm will be closed. Hope you were able to understand. So you should study this carefully and let us see what is your homework for today. Alright, it is legal and other provisions in detail once in your fair book. You are supposed to write down the topic that has been explained to you today in detail. Here if you will see, there is only mention about the head points. The detail for this is given in your textbook, as well as I have also explained in this video lecture. So you should listen to the same carefully, study carefully, also use your textbook and then write down these concepts in detail in your fair book once. Yeah? So we'll see you all in the next session soon. And we'll start with an important topic again of theory. As I said, theory is in majority to be understood in this particular chapter. So our next topic is the preparation of necessary accounts, that which are the accounts to be prepared for initiating the process of dissolution. We'll understand the realization account, necessary journal entries for the sale of assets, payment of liabilities. I mean the procedure that we have understood here. We'll understand the journal entries in same regard in the next session. Alright. So please watch this all the video lectures thoroughly and in order. Please follow the order always. You should not be like, let me watch second lecture today, or let me watch third lecture today with the fact that you haven't watched the previous 2 lectures. No. Please follow the order. Alright? So please finish the homework. We'll see you all soon in the next session. Stay home, study well.